On October 15 and 16, with a big event, the Memorial of Moses, God's friend, was reopened on Mount Nebo after many years of closure. The official entrance of the Apostolic Administrator Pier Battista Pizzaballa into Nazareth and the welcome by the Christian Orthodox authorities. The assembly of Catholic ordinaries of the Holy Land gathered to dialogue and reflect on how to generate more integration and how to foster unity between the hierarchy, religious communities, and lay people. An ancient Jewish tradition, Sukkot, or Feast of Booths, recalls the time when God's people crossed the desert while living in temporary huts. The olive harvest season has started in the Garden of Gethsemane, a gesture of familiarity with an ancient taste but renewed. On October 15 and 16, with a big event, the Memorial of Moses was reopened on Mount Nebo in Jordan. After years of being closed to the public, the sanctuary entrance plaza has welcomed hundreds of guests for the reopening of one of the shrines and the most important and visited archaeological sites in the country. Many religious and civil authorities were present: Cardinal Leonardo Sandri, prefect of the Congregation for the Oriental Churches, and special envoy of Pope Francis, the Apostolic Nuncio, Monsignor Ortiga Martini, and Patriarchal Vicar for Jordan, Monsignor Maroun Laham, the Custos of the Holy Land, Father Francesco Patton, the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities of Jordan, Lina Anab, and the Governor and Mayor of Madaba. During the ceremony on Saturday, several speeches that recalled the history of the holy place took place where the Franciscans have been present for more than 85 years. The contribution of the Studium Biblicum Franciscanum was remembered with gratitude by Brother Girolamo Mihajek. Father Pizzarillo, who died 8 years ago, devoted his life to Mount Nebo. With the symbolic gesture of the opening of the doors of the basilica, everyone was invited to enter and contemplate the harmony of the colors of the beautiful mosaics restored and put back in safety, and the wooden architecture designed to create the most welcoming and inspiring environment for prayer.
Ecco, noi quando veniamo qui
when we come here, we feel the Bible coming to life, and we are actually able to see the figure of Moses here on Mount Nebo. The Franciscan community here on Mount Nebo wants to revive an atmosphere of prayer so that whoever returns on this mountain can re-experience the closeness of God as the prophet Moses did.
Sperimentare di nuovo la vicinanza di Dio come il profeta Mosè l'ha sperimentata.
Pilgrims and visitors will be able to return here and admire some of the most beautiful mosaics of Jordan, as well as the basilica that contains them, dedicated to Moses, the friend of God.
Di questo santuario ci riporta anche a una esperienza che è l'essenza.
This sanctuary also gives us an experience that is the essence of the pilgrimage. This is the reason why it is important that this place is visited by pilgrims. The essence of the pilgrimage is to know that we will not remain in the places we visit. God wants our gaze beyond that. The pilgrimage becomes a way to understand that we are not called to enter into a promised land. Instead, we are called to enter into the promise of communion, which is the very life of God.
Chiamati ad entrare in quella promessa di comunione che è la vita stessa di Dio.
Today, this sanctuary welcomes many pilgrims from all over the world. It is an important tourist center for the Ministry of Tourism of Jordan.
This is one of the holiest places for humanity, and this is one of the holiest places for all the monolithic religions. So to be able to provide this place in the country, in our country, Jordan, the land of peace, the land of the Holy Land, to be able to have this place and to offer it to our brothers, the Christians, the Muslims, and the Jews is very, very important for us. And we are delighted today that this place is now open for the pilgrims, for the visitors, for everybody who is interested to know more about this place.
The celebration of the Mass, presided over by Cardinal Leonardo Sandri, as well as the consecration of the Basilica, took place Sunday. The message of the Pope and the homily conveyed the encouragement of the whole Church.
Tutti noi siamo chiamati a una terra promessa, la terra promessa.
We are all called to the promised land of our sanctification by the mercy of God. Therefore, we desire the promised land. We see it, we wait and wish for the whole mankind to have it, especially here in the Middle East, where there has been so much suffering for so many years, mainly in Iraq and Syria.
Soffre tanto da tanti anni nella Terra Santa e poi specialmente ora in Iraq e soprattutto in Siria.
On Sunday night, the inauguration of a new organ took place with a concert inserted into the programming of the Terra Organ Festival performed by the Italian organist Eugenio Maria Fagiani, the soloists of the Fountain of Love Choir from Amman, and the famous oud musician Tarek Al-Jundi, accompanied by Nasser Salameh Al-Rak. The Custos of the Holy Land says that the way of beauty, it is a way through which the Lord speaks to us and draws us to Him, He who is the supreme and eternal beauty. The special program on the sanctuary of Mount Nebo will be available in the Christian Media website. Sunday, October 16, official entrance of the Apostolic Administrator Pier Battista Pizzaballa into Nazareth. Following the example of Jesus and Mary, the newly appointed Archbishop urged Catholics of Galilee to follow the Lord's voice.
Let us look up to Christ. This is the lesson that comes from Nazareth, to believe that even in this world, in our reality, we can possibly build together something beautiful and positive, to live the will of God and remain fully available to His plan.
About 800 faithful gathered together with the Latin Vicar for Israel, Monsignor Giacinto Bullas Marcuso, and with the guardian of the Basilica of the Annunciation, Father Bruno Variano, with various bishops and numerous priests who con-celebrated the Mass. Mabruk, Alf Mabruk, a very meaningful greeting, Eastern and biblical. You have been blessed by God to be a blessing in turn for the brethren.
حتى تكون مباركا أي بركة لإخوتك.
A solemn and joyful ceremony in which the flock of the faithful joyfully welcomed the new pastor.
I wish that in this mission that the Lord has entrusted him, that is leading the Church in the Holy Land, he finds the assistance of the Holy Spirit. Certainly, we feel it is a great blessing that he is our apostolic administrator. We wish him to remain with us for many years, to bring the grace and message of Jesus in all regions, parishes, and to all the faithful.
في كل المنطقة لكل الرعاية لكل فرد فينا.
بركاكم على كدير على كل شيء الأب والابن والروح القدس.
Welcome home. With hugs and greetings, Monsignor Pier Battista Pizzaballa was welcomed in the new role of Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem by the heads of the main Orthodox Christian churches of the Holy Land during the official greetings. It seems to me that I never left the city, the new bishop tells the Armenian Patriarch Nurhan Manugian. They hope to work together for the common good and for the protection of the Christian people. Many small gestures performed during the morning of Thursday, October 20, showed that they are the common roots in the same faith in Jesus Christ, the rock on which to build and on which to be united. For example, the Syriac bishop Tuez Suerios Malki Murad gave Monsignor Pizzaballa the Our Father printed on a lambskin, and the Greek Orthodox Patriarch gave him 2 crosses. Monsignor Pizzaballa and Patriarchate have a relation of friendship and mutual respect that goes on for years, culminating in the presence of an envoy to the episcopal ordination of the former Custos of the Holy Land. Both have expressed their desire to continue to work together. The Apostolic Administrator then paid a visit to the Ethiopian Patriarchate, accompanied by a small delegation formed by the Bishop Emeritus Kamal Bathish and the Secretary of the Latin Patriarchate George Ayub. We must show solidarity and communion among Christians, Monsignor Pizzaballa said, confident that together we will be able to build and walk. On October 11 and 12, the Stella Maris Carmelite Monastery in Haifa hosted the second session of the Assembly of Catholic Ordinaries of the Holy Land 2016. The following topics were discussed during the assembly: the apostolic exhortation Amoris Laetitia, the relationship between bishops and religious, ecumenism in addition to the participation of young people to the last World Youth Day, and the activities of Caritas and of the Christian schools in the Holy Land. Several important themes recorded in documents published by the Vatican were introduced, one of which concerns the male and female congregations and the relationship between them, as well as their relations with the dioceses and parishes. The topics considered in the Assembly are designed to urge us to do an examination of conscience, mainly on the way we live as Christians in the Holy Land and on how we, as the Church, the Catholic Church, relate to our fellow Orthodox, Protestants, as well as those who belong to other religions, our Muslim and Jewish brothers. Since 1992, the bishops of various Christian denominations, particularly the Latin, the Melkite, and the Maronite churches, as well as the Syrian, the Armenian, and the Chaldean churches, gather twice a year together with the Custos of the Holy Land and with the apostolic nuncios in Israel, Palestine, Cyprus, and Jordan to review the reality of the Catholic Church and to find the right course of action. The focus of this session was the need to increase the communion between the various elements of the Church at different levels.
La sinodalità, la comunione.
Synodality, communion, is not just a document, it is not an expression. It must become a mindset, a lifestyle, an attitude that should be learned in seminars, in parishes, in schools as training. This is a long process that can be completed step by step for the common good. A significant step toward the effort for a greater communion was the opportunity of participation offered to a representative of one of the 84 all-female religious congregations, as well as to one of the 30 all-men fraternities of the Holy Land.
Per la prima volta, le religiose qui in Terra Santa.
For the first time, the nuns here in the Holy Land have received this invitation, this opportunity to participate. With our gifts and with our whole being, we truly want to deeply support this experience, the welcoming, the dialogue, and the communion.
In profondità, l'accoglienza, il dialogo, la comunione profonda.
During Sukkot, all roads lead to the Jewish Western Wall. The Jews come on pilgrimage to the ancient Temple of Jerusalem on the occasion of the Feast of Sukkot, as well as on Passover and on Pentecost. The word Sukkot in Hebrew means booths. According to the book of Leviticus, which is part of the Torah, God showed Moses how his people should celebrate this holiday by living in huts made of branches for 7 days to remember their wandering in the wilderness. They had neither a land nor a fixed abode and lived in fragile and temporary tents. Even now, tents are mounted outdoors. The roofs are made of straw or leaves, through which one must be able to see the sky. Through this fragile roof, they are also able to look at the clouds that were a great sign of God's protection of the Israelites. Along the way, they were led by 7 clouds, and they were protected against the dangers and the pitfalls of the desert.
E la festa di Sukkot ricorda proprio il dono.
The Sukkot holiday recalls the 7 clouds of glory. Every night, 7 guests are invited in the tent to commemorate the 7 great shepherds of Israel: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, David, Joseph, Moses, and Aaron.
Che ogni sera sono invitati nella sukkah, la tenda.
The text of Leviticus also advises the use of shrubs like trees and branches as an expression of joy during this festival. The Sukkot festival combines religiosity and elements of agriculture. For this reason, it is also called the Holiday of the Harvest, which every year falls on October. Special prayers are recited to ask God for the blessing of rain. This has been part of the tradition since the time of Jesus, who, as a Jew, also took part in this festival. As recounted in the Gospel of John, Jesus came to the temple during the festival of Sukkot, and on the last day of celebration he began to call out, "If anyone is thirsty, "Come to me and drink." He spoke of the Spirit, because the water is always linked to the Spirit in biblical tradition. For a week, the nights of Jerusalem are exceptionally lucent. The shopkeepers and the whole town get into the Sukkot holiday spirit. It is not difficult to feel the atmosphere of joy and celebration that fills the streets and the hearts of every Jew. A simple gesture that contains hundreds of different meanings and feelings. This year, as every year, the olive harvest has started in the Garden of Gethsemane. Joy and expectation for a unique sharing experience.
Anche quest'anno ci ritroviamo.
This year we experience again this very nice and simple event. I wish for people who come to pick olives and give us the opportunity to share with us this very beautiful event, to feel the familiarity of experiencing something old that is always new, something that has already happened and that keeps happening.
Qualcosa di antico e sempre nuovo, che è già avvenuto e che avviene ancora.
Whether for a few hours or for a whole day, the volunteers from 15 different nationalities invited by the Friars Guardians of the Sacred Garden, even under a summer sun, have become protagonists of this very special harvest.
I've just arrived about 5 weeks ago, so it is my first time. My first time having any encounter with olives, so it's particularly special to be picking olives in the Garden of Gethsemane.
This is a unique experience, something you want to do at least once in your lifetime. I have been here for 5 years. I was invited to this event. This has been a very unique and special event. You have to live it to understand it.
Very special occasion and a very special place, Mount of Olives, sacred place for all of us, and just opposite the old city of Jerusalem, which is one of the nicest points in the world.
Picking olives creates familiarity. In these current times, we need this very simple event, stressed Father Diego. And this is how this garden, normally wrapped in silence, turns into a total different place during this harvest.
Being here and picking olives with the family, with our 2 children, my husband and a few friends in the Garden of Olives, in this garden where Jesus prayed for us, is an extraordinary blessing. In this month of October, during the olive harvest, this silence is broken to give way to the familiar, and we all share this joy. We say that in this period the hermitage changes face, no more solitude with the Lord, but sharing with our neighbor. Here, where he is always present, he is the only certainty.
Dove lui è sempre presente, certo.
In the year of mercy, this noble gesture from the ancient taste, which will last for a few more weeks, takes on an even deeper meaning.
Come noi ci aspettiamo e speriamo di raccogliere delle olive.
As we expect to collect the olives from the trees, I think the Lord in this year of mercy hopes that we too can give fruits of mercy. This is our wish for all those who join us to gather olives from far and near.
Che faccio a tutti coloro che si uniscono a noi da lontano e da vicino per raccogliere le olive.
The mission of the Christian Media Center is to bring the message of the Holy Land, the land of the fifth gospel, to the world. Broadcasts, reports, news, documentaries, the latest happenings in the church and of the daily life of Christians in the Holy Land. You can help us in this mission, raising awareness and spreading the message of the Holy Land. Help us. Visit our website,